Good afternoon. It is October 30th, 2021. There's a lot going on still. Johnny was told to stay away from me and leave me alone by the police officer last night, but he didn't. He threatened my life on video. And then this morning, he started all over again. So I haven't been getting any sleep, and I look really bad, and I'm very sorry because I'm very, very tired of taking care of two dogs in the middle of the night so they don't fight. No sleep because of what he's been doing. But the reason why I came back on YouTube is because I want to explain something to you. Johnny is going around telling everybody that I was arrested, making me look like I was a criminal, and saying that I attacked him in his bed back in 2016. Well, he was beating me, and the Rosamond police officers would not arrest him. And I still don't understand the law about what the lady was telling me last night. He was beating me and hurting me. So that night, and I had surgery in June 16th, I think it was the 16th of 2016. And he started hitting me afterwards. And I have video and pictures of that. So a little bit of time went on, and he kept abusing me. I kept calling the police. They kept coming out. Of course, like I said before, hundreds of times, they know him. They're not going to arrest him. So what happened was he was hitting me, and he wouldn't stop because he was so drunk when he came home. So he was hitting me. So I got off of work, and at that time I had to work with a box cutter. So when he wasn't leaving me alone and he was hitting on me, then the police didn't do anything. So I decided, or they weren't doing anything. So I decided that I was going to pick up. So he had the police on the phone saying I was threatening him. So while the police were on the phone, the 911, I had the box cutter in my hand. And as he was talking to the dispatcher, I was telling him that if you hit me one more fucking time, that I'm gonna cut you. So the cops came out here. Of course, they believed Johnny's story once again. They handcuffed me, and they took me to Bakersfield. First of all, they took the wrong knife. And I told them that the next day, or I told my public defender or something, I can't remember. But they took the wrong knife. They took like a pocket knife. And I told them, no, it was the box cutter. So they kept that knife, and I had to have the box cutter. So they took me to Bakersfield. Okay, I've never been to jail out here in my whole entire life. One time years ago in Summit, a little Mayberry kind town, my mom knew all the police anyway, so I got in a fight with years and years. I was like 20 years old. But anyways, so I never been to jail like this. So they took me to Bakersfield, and I was so scared, and I was crying, and I was telling the police officer, you know how he is. I shouldn't be here. He was ignoring me. So we get to Bakersfield. I'm handcuffed like a fucking criminal, like I murdered somebody. So then we get there, and the lady, I don't know, some cop lady, nurse or something, she took my blood pressure. Well, when she took my blood pressure, it was sky high. She looked at the police officer, and it was about 11:30 at night when I got to the police station in Bakersfield. It was pouring rain. So when we got there, she took my blood pressure, and she looked at the police officer, and she goes, what is she doing here? And the police officer's like, well, why? And she's like, because her blood pressure is so high, she can have a stroke or a heart attack. And the lady looked at me and says, "Why is your blood pressure so high?" I go, "Because I'm being falsely accused and falsely arrested right now." So she told the police officer, "Well, get her to the hospital right away." So the police officer in the rain at 12 midnight took me to the Bakersfield hospital. I sat there with handcuffs on me, handcuffed to a bed. I looked at that officer. I was crying my eyes out. And I looked at him. I says, "You know I don't fucking belong here right now. And you know that." He put his head down and turned away and wouldn't even look at me. I stared him up and down all night long in that hospital. We got back to jail in Bakersfield at about 7:30 in the morning. That's how long. And that hospital was disgusting. Those nurses were so rude to me, like I fucking robbed a bank or something. And so I was embarrassed. So then when we get back to the jail, the lady takes my blood pressure again. She goes, "Well, did they give you any medications?" I said, "No, they didn't give me any medication. They just gave me one little pill, which was an Ativan." And she goes, "They didn't give you a prescription?" I said, "No." She looked at the police officer and she says, "Her blood pressure is so high. We cannot put her back in this jail cell because she's going to have it's a very good chance that she could have a stroke or a heart attack." So I'm freaking out. I'm crying. I don't know what to fucking do. My bail was $3,000. Okay. And I still owe $1,000 to Aladdin bail bonds that I cannot pay right now. So the cop looks at the lady and says, "Well, I don't want to drive back to the hospital because it's pouring rain." And he's like, "I don't want to drive back to the hospital." So the lady goes, "Okay, well then just take her in the cell." So they fucking left me in that cell all for hours to like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, from 7:30 in the morning to like 4 or 5 in the afternoon with very high blood pressure. Then they finally released me. I go to court. I go talk to my public defender when it's court day. I told her that at that time, I had 4 cell phones of Johnny's abuse. I told her this. She goes, "Well, you're looking at 1 to 5 years." I think it was 5 years. She goes, "You're looking at 1 to 5 years if you go to trial. And if you lose, that's what you're going to go to prison." I go, "Well, I didn't do anything. I have 4 cell phones of his abuse, and these cops didn't do anything." So then she goes, "Well, if you plead guilty, you'll have a year's probation, and you'll have to pay $700. I said, "Oh my God." So this public defender was very horrible. She was a lady. Stupid ass me should have taken it to trial, because I'm thinking now I would have won. But this public defender had me so screwed up in my head that she says, "Well, this and this and this." I said, "Okay." So I took the deal. I was on a year's probation and I had to pay $700 back plus $3,000 bail bonds. So that's what happened the first time I was arrested. Okay. The second time I was arrested, I don't know what happened, but Johnny called the police. Oh, no. I remember what happened. Okay. Johnny was abusing me again. So I called the police on him. So when I called the police, they came out. Johnny left a mark on my lip. Okay. There was a bruised, kind of a fat lip. He popped me in my mouth. He knew I called the police. So he went into the bathroom and he punched himself in the fucking face. Because I would never hit that man ever, because I know, you see how he is. Do you think how you people out there think that I would hit a man that's crazy like this, that could kill me in a second? So I didn't hit that man. So then the police officers get here. There's a real big tall guy. I don't know who he was. He takes my right arm, I'm in Johnny's bedroom and he's out here in the front room telling his lies once again. So then I'm in the bedroom. The cops were assholes to me once again, like they always are, for no reason. So then the cop goes, well, I don't see a mark. I see a mark on his face. I go, what are you talking about? You see a mark on his face? I never touched that man. Well, I see a big red mark on his face. Well, they didn't take pictures of it. Of course not, they didn't. So I said, if he has a red mark on his face, it's because he went into the bathroom and he hit himself. But they never took any pictures of his face. And that's the thing. So then the big guy, the big tall, and I'm this little girl, right? So the big tall guy grabs me by my right shoulder, and I think that's why my shoulder's been bothering me ever since, because I had to have a CAT scan done last week on it. So he takes my shoulder, my arm, and he goes, you're under arrest. I says, well, what the hell am I under arrest for? He goes, because we don't see a mark on your face, but we see a mark on his face. So I'm like, I'm the one that called you guys. Look at my lip right here. I got a mark. I got a kind of a fat lip, and it's a little bloody. So he goes, put your hands behind your back. I says, what? He goes, put your hands behind your back. He grabs, and when I said what, he took my arm and he threw it all the way like this. I go, ow, you're hurting me. You're hurting me. And and he's a strong cop. And he just pulled my arm all the way back to where it almost cracked. And I told him, I go, can you please, not do that? So he handcuffed me, and they took me to Mojave jail because they didn't want to drive to Bakersfield. So they took me to Mojave jail, all man's jail. Okay. And I thank God I had my cell phone on me, because last time I didn't have my cell phones with me because I didn't expect the first time to get arrested because I was defending myself. So then we get there, they do their procedure, whatever, in Mojave. I go, well, this is an all-man's jail. I don't want to go in an all-man's jail. And the cop goes, well, it's just going to be for overnight because I don't want to drive to Bakersfield. So they throw me in this big-ass cell by myself with all these men screaming. And I was so fucking scared, screaming and all night long. So I had my cell phone. They took it and put it in the locker. So, but when we got there and after I was all settled in and everything, or as they were processing me in, I should say, I looked at the CO lady. She was a tall lady, very pretty, with short black hair. And I looked at her when she was talking to me. I go, can you look in my face right now? And can you tell me if you see a mark and a little bleeding and a little fat lip? And she says, yeah, I see it very clearly. I go, that officer said that he didn't see anything. And I even took pictures of it. I have pictures on video of this, of my lip that night. So she goes, yeah, I see it. I see it very clearly. It's right there on your lip. How can you not see it? And I go, that officer that arrested me said that he can't see anything. And so she goes, no, I see it fine. So then she felt bad for me. She had to do her job, but she did feel bad for me. So I go in the cell and all these men are screaming. I shouldn't even been in a men's jail in the first place. So then I go in the cell and I'm crying. And I got there. I don't remember what time I got there. So anyways, I'm calling her, I'm like, please come here. I'm calling this correctional officer. Please come here. So she finally came in after 15 minutes. I go, can you please go in my cell phone? You guys have my cell phone. I will give you the password to my cell phone. Can you please go in there? You have my permission and look at all the abuse on just one of my cell phones that he has done to me. So it took them, I think, like 7 hours, maybe 6 hours to look through my cell phone because that's how much abuse I had on one cell phone from him. So then they let me go at 5 a.m, and it was freezing outside. Hold on, he just came home. Missy, come here and look at Lola running from him. Look at Lola running from him.
Lola, come here.
Look at that. I didn't expect him home so soon. But anyways, so when I got to the, so when I got to court, after they let me out of jail, it was 5 a.m. It was freezing cold. All I had on was a t-shirt and my pants and shoes. It was so windy, cold. I go, well, can I use your phone to call somebody? I don't have, or my phone, I don't know what happened, but can I, I said, I used my phone. I said, can I stay here? She goes, no, you have to go. I had to walk from Mojave Courthouse all the way to the 7-Eleven, which was a block and a half away, freezing cold, windy. I had to go in there, and I had to find a ride. I never get in a car with somebody. I had to get a ride back to Rosamond. I go to court on my court date. They dropped the charges. I couldn't believe it. I go, are you sure? I had to talk to 3 different people just to make sure that they dropped the charges. So they dropped the charges because they saw the abuse that Johnny was doing to me. So those are the reasons that I was falsely arrested by Rosamond Police Station. Those are the reasons. So when Johnny's telling you and everybody that this and that has happened and this and that I did this and I got a police record, no. But now Johnny is the one who has a police record because they documented on that it was abuse yesterday and they have a abuse on Lola. So now he is confirmed, documented in Rosamond, California, as an animal and woman abuser. And I'm glad I got that far. But this isn't over yet. Because I am going to get a good lawyer and I am going to file a lawsuit against Kern County Sheriff's Department for letting them do this to me and then to these dogs for the last 5 years and to what he did to my body. And now I'm going to wind up in a wheelchair because of this man. So I am going to be filing a lawsuit against Kern County Sheriff's Department, and then I'm going to be filing a lawsuit against Johnny Faron Thomas for everything that man has put me through. But I want to let you know that is the reasons why I was falsely, and I'm going to say this clearly, I was falsely arrested by Rosamond Police Station. And this is him.
I will this time.
But it's all, he's right now threatening me again with jail. And I'm in the backyard. And this is how he listened.
I can hear you. You've been doing
because
this for fucking a week.
He's eavesdropping on my conversations. That's what he always does. But
you always listen to my conversations.
I could care less.
You even record them. In fact, you steal from me. In fact, you just...
And that's another thing I want to tell everybody. He says I steal from him. He says I do all these things,
and
but
I have proof.
He can never answer when I say anything. What did I steal?
Have to prove it to you.
And he still can't prove it to the police. He can't prove it to nobody. And this is what I deal with on a daily basis until I have to leave. But Monday, he's going to be out of here Monday. And he has to pay the officer lady, it's on video on my YouTube, the officer lady said that he has to pay for the restraining order. But he's also going to be paying for court fees and restitution on what he has done to me. And he's going to never have another dog again. But I just want to tell you all this to get it out there and to get it straight, because I am so tired of this man telling everybody in the world that I am a bad person. I am not a bad person.
You've been a bad person your whole life. Even your mother says so.
In
fact, your mother called the sheriff's department and straightened them out on how bad of a person you are.
My mother has dementia.
No, that was before you come up with that.
My mother hates him. She would never call the police on her own daughter. My mother loves me. And everybody knows that around the world. This is what I go through with this fucker. And he's supposed to leave me alone. So right now, if you Rosamond cops are out here looking at these videos, and the district attorney, I'm expecting a warrant for his arrest here next week. Because this is ridiculous that I have to... Everything was quiet until he came home.
You don't even live here. You never paid rent. So, I don't know why you're trying to take my home from me. Why don't you just leave? Get in your car, go live with your daughters and your son. Why don't you do that? Instead of trying to ruin somebody else's life, ruins their life.
And you all
You
know.
already gave birth to them. It can't get much worse.
And this is the mentality of a 67-year-old man when nobody does absolutely nothing. That's why I'm telling you, women out there, be careful of this man, because he will destroy and hurt you physically, mentally, verbal, emotional. And another thing is he likes to tear up things. I had this custom-made jacket from 9/11 that I had for me made. It costed me $175. He tore it. I still have the jacket because I need to get it fixed. He tore the patch right in front of my face, took a knife and tore the patch. And then this is a bunch of other stuff that he has torn up. But I had a brand new Chicago. I had a brand new Chicago Bears that I won out of a bet, out of a football game. I mean, this Chicago Bears blanket was beautiful and it was huge, and I had it 2 days. And this fucker goes and tears it up with a knife right in front of my face. And then a friend of mine gave me a $200 purse, and I have this on video with my friend Lisa because she was here that day. He was mad for some reason. Me and her were sitting outside, and this was back in 2016. We were sitting out, or 17. We were sitting outside, and I had my purse. We were talking about my purse. It's a $200 purse. So it was in perfect condition. So I go in the house with Lisa. Johnny comes home from work. He pulls up. He gets out of his car, comes up to the yard, gets in the yard, and he cuts a little hole in my fucking purse. He cut holes in my boots, in my biker jacket vest. But I have that on video, and I called my friend. I said, Lisa, come out here, look at this. And there it was. He did that to my, he has torn t-shirts off of my back and wrapped it around my neck and tried to choke me. But this is how this man is, and I'm going to stress this until he is put in jail. And I'm going to stress this every single day if I have to on Facebook until you Rosamond police officers and you district attorney get that warrant for his arrest and arrest his ass. But this is what I put up with every morning and every night. And I'm going to keep posting it till you guys, you Rosamond law enforcement, do something about this man.